Welcome to the Real Joseph Latman. I am Joseph Latman. Happy Thursday to you guys. Hope you guys are having a good week. Hope you guys have a good week. Ready for this weekend? Playoff football. Can't wait to watch that. Uh, Good show playing for you guys today. I got a quick topic on anxiety, and then my man Mike Antonace is going to come on. We're going to talk about the Jim Schwartz hire, as the Browns hired Jim Schwartz as the defensive coordinator. Can't wait to get into that. But first today, I'm going to start off with a topic, kind of going off of what I talked in my last show last week when I told you guys about what I had gone through recently in the last month and kind of all the things that I learned in that last month. I did a lot of reflecting, took a lot of notes on it, and just kind of a lot of things I had already been learning about, but it kind of gave me a different perspective on things. And so, one thing I noticed with, for instance, when I talked last week about my dad's surgery and what I learned in that week. And what I learned in that week about the anxiety I had that week was the anticipation anxiety. And a lot of times people could say, well, that's kind of just, like you get ready for a doctor's appointment, you like going to the doctors, or like for me, was it something coming up in the future I didn't like? And so, a lot of times the anticipation is what gets you more than anything rather than the actual event itself. And so, it's the movies you play in your head building up to that. And so I really kind of been diving deeper into this, kind of what it really is. Like, I'm going to take a really deep layer beyond just, okay, you're nervous about something. Okay, why are you nervous about something? And so I kind of want to get into this today just for a little bit, for the first like 15, 20 minutes. I got a couple clips I'm going to play. So, let me get right into this. So, anticipation anxiety. My experience with anticipation anxiety is a lot, usually all the time for everybody. Anxiety is you're worried about something in the future. And so for me, I was always worried about things I was trying to prevent. My health, having a panic attack in front of people. Front like that, the week with my dad had a surgery. I was afraid of going through that. That was something new I'd never been through. A lot of things that people go through that causes anticipation anxiety. And when you anticipate something, and a lot of times it's connected to with lack of sleep, insomnia. All right, and so when I'm up at night, when I have insomnia, anxiety, when I can't go to sleep because I'm thinking about something. And I know a lot of people. Like I talked to somebody the other day. They just had a newborn child, and so this person works a lot, and the newborn's getting there. The sleep, they're in that kind of that pattern where the sleep's just not. They're not sleeping on. They're waking up multiple times in the night. So every time he has to get up in the middle of the night, and so he's like, a lot of times when I lay back down, I can't fall back asleep because number one, I had to get up in the middle of the night, but also I'm just anticipating the kid to start crying again. And so, again, anticipation. But I think a lot of it for me, when I learned through my own experience, when I really dove deep into that week 2 weeks ago, I was trying to prevent something. And the prevention caused me to have pressure. And the pressure was caused me to do a lot of doership things, trying to force things, trying to prevent things. And I feel like a lot of people, just the anxiety, just the anticipation of things is out of doership. They feel like I have to do something. I got to get out in front of something. When a lot of times, just allowing things to happen, that's how it's supposed to be. You just got to allow things. That's where faith comes in. Faith with God, faith with yourself and the process and what you're doing. It's okay to have anxiety and worries. That's normal. But when you start allowing it to control what you do, that's where things start to get a lot out of whack. So the what if thinking shows up. Just a lot of things start to show up. And so I got a couple of these, they're like shorts, they're called, on YouTube. So when I put this on the screen, it's gonna look a little awkward. I'm not gonna be able to go full screen with it. I got some clips from my man, the anxiety guy, where he kind of shares some like quick tips on things on this topic, because I can sit on this topic all day, but I'm gonna just warm it up today. Get my man Mike's perspective, kind of his experience with it. And so let me get to this clip here. And like I said, bear with me. It's a little, I can't go full screen on these, so it just is what it is. But pay attention to what he's saying here. It's a 1 minute clip. I got a couple more of these I'm gonna play. And so let me play this first one here. And by the way, go subscribe to my man Dennis, the anxiety guy, if you haven't already. You already know how I feel about that. Best anxiety support there is online. So let me get to this clip.
Do you know what anxiety sufferers really are? Anxiety sufferers are hyperachievers. And because they're hyperachievers, they live in a place of doership. Because they live in a place of doership, they have a very difficult time leaving things alone. They have a difficult time trusting. They have a difficult time increasing their faith in what's to come in the future. But can we change this? Yes, because we can move from a place of doership to a place of non-doership. And when we move from this one place to another place, we begin to understand that we're being guided and we no longer have to force things, including your healing.
Oops. Let me get the right thing. Okay, here I am. All right, so what he said there is basically what I warmed it up with. Doership. Anxiety sufferers are hyper aware, hyperactive, trying to prevent things, hyperachievers. And that's why I think all that's pressure. And that pressure, that anticipation to something, whether you're like me, maybe you had something coming up, maybe a family member you love's got a big thing coming up, like a surgery or something. Maybe you got your first day on the job coming up. Maybe you're going on your first date, your first day of school, whatever it is, right? There's that anticipation, that anxiety. And so you really dive into what are you trying to achieve here? What are these standards that you're trying to achieve? Are they really yours, or are they other people's standards? What's causing that pressure? That's what you got to ask yourself. And so, I had to ask myself that. A lot of my pressures were from expectations put on me by a lot of people, and then with that also, you kind of feel like something I've learned recently is. You feel like you have these expectations, and you feel like you almost have to do things. As a kid growing up, I felt I had to do all these things. I didn't really have a voice. I wasn't able to speak my own truth. And so, again, identify what that is. What's causing that pressure, excuse me. And so, once you figure that out, now you got to remember, with change is going to come resistance. So, these next two clips I have will help you kind of give you a brief... again, another short. If I can pull this up here. Okay. And now on this one here is going to tell you about when you're going through that change, when you're letting go of things, you identify these things, you're going to apply something from a different perspective. This is what helps me. When I move away from that old thinking, those old habits, like that week what happened with my dad 2 weeks ago, I had no choice but to act a different way, perceive things a different way. I had to accept, and it was very hard. And I had many symptoms that week, and all kinds of panic attacks. Mike's coming on. Mike will tell you. Mike will help me out that week a lot too, because I was talking to Mike throughout the days, and I was going through it, no sleep, not a lot of that, and so I had to think from a different perspective. I had to apply an outside thinking in a way. That's why I call outside thinking, from a different perspective, looking into my situation, excuse me, from a different point of view. And so this clip here, he's going to really break it down. It's another short, real quick one about don't believe everything you feel.
You before. You wake up in the morning and you're experiencing the heart palpitation, or you're experiencing the stomach nervousness, or you're experiencing the dizziness, and all of a sudden you are interpreting those things as being catastrophic feelings. Now imagine that you don't believe in everything that you feel. Can you imagine having a sensation or a symptom and not believing in the interpretation that's coming from your protective sides, but rather believing that it's just something looking to protect you? If you can take on this meaning, I promise you the symptoms will subside. Don't believe everything you feel.
Don't believe Don't believe everything you feel. And I like what he said about those symptoms. The symptoms are trying to protect you. And so that week when I was going through that, and all the many things I've done in the last month, and just everything in my past, all my experiences, that's what those symptoms are. They're trying to prevent me from doing something new, because they're trying to keep me safe. it thinks, your body's actually looking out for you. Like, hey, this is uncomfortable. We don't like this. Revert to safety. Get out of here. Stop this. Right. But sometimes you're in situations like I was, you can't stop things. And so you have to interpret this from a different perspective, right? Your anticipation to that event has to change, how you perceive it. And again, anxiety healing can be very painful. It could be the worst thing and the best thing that happened to you. It could feel worse. It could be the worst thing because what you go through, the experiences, they suck. But when you slow things down, you take a deep breath, you start to realize what's really going on, you figure out the root causes of your anxiety, you start to realize what it really is. And what it really is all this is just false interpretation. A lot of times, not your own interpretation. It's like a lot of my things I was carrying other people's emotional weight. I was carrying emotional baggage on me that wasn't even mine. And so, again, anxiety healing is supposed to feel a certain way. And so this next clip, the last one here, if I can get it on the screen. Hold on one second. He's going to explain here. This is what anxiety recovery really feels like and really breaks it down. This is it right here. I mean, you have to go into this with the mindset of, okay, I expect this to happen. It's going to show up, but how am I going to respond? That's the key here today. How do you, with the anticipation anxiety, with any anxiety, how do you respond differently? How do you start to challenge those old responses, those old beliefs that you had? And so this clip here really breaks it down. Like I said, this is what anxiety recovery actually feels like.
So what does start to happen when you heal from anxiety? Well, one of the biggest things, especially for me, is you stop playing the game the inner child wants you to play. Okay? So you've got an inner child, I've got an inner child, and people that heal from anxiety do a much better job of not being led by the beliefs and interpretations coming from their own inner child based on childhood programming. Okay, so you're no longer playing this game. The inner child goes, hey, yo, that person just did something and you should fight back, right? And you're going, well, I don't see the value in fighting back anymore. And the inner child goes, what are you crazy? You might lose your reputation here. Something may go wrong. And you're going, yeah, I just don't see it the same way I used to. So what does?
Yeah, can't say it any better than what he just said there. It's like a tug of war. And one of the things I learned in the last month, when I said I reflected on all the things I've really dug deep into through my experiences, was just the inner tug of war going on. I was doing a lot of things that were very out of my comfort zone. And Mike knows a lot of them. Some of them are private. I'll keep them private. But, just a lot of things I did that really made me step out of my comfort zone. And to be honest with you, some things I did I couldn't believe I was doing, but also I was relieved in a way too. But I had that conflict. You have that doubt. Don't do it. You can't do this. You're not going to make it. You're going to look like a fool. What if what you don't want happens? But through all those experiences I've been through, the worst never happened. I made them through it all. And I took the lessons from each one. Now I really apply taking the lessons now. I'm at that point now. In the past, I would actually, for a lot of people, they go through experience. I need to avoid that happening again. Now I actually look forward to, the next challenge. That's part of life. Life, God challenges us and tests us. And each test gets more difficult. And so that's my open for today on anticipation anxiety. That's my experience, what I've gone through. And this is kind of what I'm going to keep diving into this more, kind of all the things I've learned, like I said, recently, and just investigating them more. But again, understand it's a tug of war. It's all about your perceptions. It's the pressure. That's what it was for me. What am I trying to prevent? Am I trying to protect or what am I trying to protect rather? Am I trying to protect my what's the word? Reputation, how people perceive me? Am I trying to protect a fear of having another panic anxiety attack? Am I trying to protect whatever? We all have those kind of phobias or things that insecurities, whatever you want to call them, that we try to protect. But that's really what causes the anticipation anxiety when you go into a new situation. A lot of times it's from past experience. It's from these crappy beliefs about yourself that aren't even yours, And so, yeah, without further ado,
I'm little.
there you go. All right, there you go. Mike, welcome back to the Real.
Always. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you coming on. I know I said a mouthful there in the open, kind of played some clips. And we're going to get into the fun part of today, the Browns. But I do want to get your take on this real quick before we head into that, because you obviously you shared your experience many times in this show.
Right.
You talked to me all that time last week, 2 weeks ago, when I was going through that. You and I talked for hours those days, and we really learned more about each other, I think, too, in a way. Just
absolutely.
And so, and that is another thing I learned. That made me very vulnerable this week. It really that week really made me vulnerable too, because I think I was telling you that week. It's like I couldn't talk to my dad like I usually could because he was, getting ready for surgery. So so I had to be vulnerable with other people. But again, that anticipation, I know we talked about that day. I guess kind of what's your initial reaction to this whole topic and kind of what you see?
So with anticipation anxiety, like I mean, I suffered with it for a long time, just like with everything, with health, and when I first started in the car business, I mean, I was, every first of each month, I mean, we all as adults worry about finances. I think that's just part of the regular worry from day to day. But in the car business, I really struggled with that. Like I would have panic attacks. Like the first of the month, you start back at zero. It doesn't matter how good you did the previous month. And it took talking to people, therapists, all that good stuff to just realize, hey, being worried. If you start looking at it that way, that's what I started doing. Being worried and nervous about finances or something like in your example, your dad's surgery. Perfectly normal, perfectly normal reaction. Being worried is just a human emotion, but as anxiety disorder sufferers, people tend to take it a step further and be like, oh, I that's just I can't deal with that. I'm going crazy over here. And it took family members, friends, and a therapist saying, hey, being worried is super normal.
Yeah, it's okay to feel nervous. It's okay. It's okay to not feel okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the second clip he kind of talked about it was like, hey, what if it was just feelings trying to protect you? Once you there's an actual term for it, and I have an app still on my phone. Luckily, I haven't had to use it too much, but it's like CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy. It's like a self therapy you do, where you just reframe your mind when those things pop up, instead of saying, oh man, I'm panicking. It's like, oh, I'm just worried about this thing.
You apply that outside thinking, like I mentioned.
Exactly, outside thinking. So that was my big experience with it, and that's kind of how I overcame it. Was just like, hey, these are normal emotions that I have as a person, and it's okay to be worried about finances. It's okay to be worried about your dad's surgery. It's okay to be worried about major life events, having a kid. It's so very okay to be worried about that. That's all that good stuff. And it's a good thing to be worried, because that means you care. It means that you want to make sure you get A, B, and C right. But it's one thing that worry is a train for you to find a solution. Like if you're worrying something, it's your mind and your spirit telling you, hey, I think there's a problem, or I think there's something happening that I'm unsure about. But it's a train to a solution. Like finances, you're worried about finances, train to a solution. It's important to recognize it's normal, and also important to recognize if there is in fact a problem, and not just like an event to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, obviously it varies. Like I'm using finances as an example. In your situation with your dad's surgery, obviously it's a normal worry to have, and you just had to get over the hump of the surgery happening and coming home, which I get.
Well, and I've never been in that situation before either.
Right.
One of my parents. Well, I mean, my mom obviously had my sister. That's good, but I was really young. I don't really remember that. I was 8 years old. But this is the first time I'm older now. And, this is kind of like it's a real procedure.
Yeah,
and
right.
And by the way, he went got his checkup yesterday. Healing's going great. He's back to work, back to normal self. Doing what he does at work, making Jeremy do certain things, which I will not mention. But
do jumping jacks in the showroom, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'll tell you off camera what he did. But
I'm excited.
Yeah, but but anyhow, no, I mean that whole week I kind of just it was like I knew he was gonna be okay because I actually heard from the surgeon that was doing it. That our family doctor, he had to go get like a checkup thing right before to get like a release thing you got to sign. The doctor was like, "Why are you even here?" Like she's like,
yeah.
She's like, it's fine. Like it's a very, very, very minor thing. Like it's okay.
Yeah, isn't it like a 30-minute surgery? It's not even like
it was like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
But you just never know how people react to certain things, and so which we talked about that week, and so that really was it. But I think a lot of it too was more just it was a form of letting go. It was a form of letting go, and it really challenged my dad, challenged me, challenged my mom, challenged all of us. It was just a different situation that we weren't used to. And so, although I think my sister, she was probably the most just whatever about it. She is, she don't really care. But, but it was just a different thing. But the anticipation is what caused the anxiety. Because when the day came, and I started getting through the day, I was actually like kind of relieved during it. Like I wasn't even really like nervous. Like I was just chill. I was over at my aunt's house chilling, just kick back, watching the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, just hanging out, think about who we Jadavian Clowney news came out that day, so I'm sitting there bitching about that.
Yeah.
I think I called you. You called each other about that too. Like,
yeah, you called him a clown, Clowny the clown.
Yeah, all that stuff. But I just couldn't believe it, especially when it was over, just how drained I felt. And I went and laid on this couch for like 20 minutes, just laid there, like, whoa, like this whole week's over with finally.
Right.
But all I thought about was, man, why did I stress myself out so much? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? You always look back at these things. And I remember like in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep, I'd get pissed off, I'd get angry, I would sit there. I would just start telling myself, sometimes I would start like yelling to myself, like, dude, like, it's okay. Like, he's going to be fine. Like, it's going to be okay. But
right.
Again, what it really is a test of faith. Because if you have strong faith, do you really worry about the future?
Right. Exactly.
And so that's kind of something I'm going through right now still. It's just, there's a lot of things in my life that about, some private things, and then some things I've shared here where I'm kind of like, there's a lot of uncertainties. I don't know where certain things might go. I don't know, where God's taking me, why certain things, you said, I wonder why certain things happened, or, kind of just, that kind of stuff. What's kind of helped you? What helps you with that? I know because you're doing a lot of new things as well in your life, which we'll plug later at the end of the show. Mike's got a spot open up this week in Akron.
Yes, I do.
But, what kind of helps you with all
that? Definitely like starting with faith, like, and I struggle with that a lot. Just lifting things up to God. I have to get better about it, just, being more active in my prayer life. But when you actually think about that and think of it, at least in a biblical sense, I mean, especially like, look at the Son of God, God himself, Jesus Christ, he had worries before the crucifixion. He had worries. He had temptations. He struggled with, everything. And he had the human experience. God had a human experience. And that really kind of helps me a lot too, because like, it's like here, I have to deal with these things and I have to worry about things, but Jesus knew about like having to die a horrible death and, still went through with it because of, just his love for us. And,
it's funny you bring that up, because that morning when I woke up, the Bible app, if you play it and it reads you the first thing I woke up that morning. Well, I didn't wake up, I was already up, but before I got up, I put in my earbuds. I listened to the passage of 40 days, 40 nights in the desert, and how he faced the temptation. Because I knew that's all I was going through. And
Right.
so it's funny you brought that up there because that's what I actually last that morning. And so, but I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're fine. Like it's it's refreshing to know that God not only wants to help us with these things, and he understands it in a personal light as well, because it's like he's lived through it as Christ. And he knows what we deal with on the day to day. And that's just refreshing thought. And it's something like I said, that I struggle with, that I need to get better about, is just lifting things up to God, just financial, because he wants to hear about it all, he just wants you to talk to him. He just wants to hear about it all. Financial stress, or relationship stress, or personal stress, what have you, health anxiety, all of it. He doesn't care. He just wants to hear about it. He wants you to lift those problems up to him because
wants you to hand the ball off to him. It's like
exactly. I love that.
Tony Evans said at that time, he's like, the quarterback gets the ball, then he hands it off to the halfback.
Yeah.
And everybody was running up to the quarterback. Now they're going after the halfback. That's theoretically that's what he's saying. God's the running back. God's Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
You hand out the ball, and now he takes the problem for you. He wants to fight the battle for you.
Exactly. So that's something that I do, that I should do more often, because I got to get more involved in my prayer life. But that's something we could, if you're starting it at a spiritual, biblical sense.
Yeah, it's hard to. It's hard too in the midst of, like, I remember that week I was trying to make sure I read my scripture as much as I could. I'll be honest, when I'm stressed out like that, it's hard for me to do anything. Everything I do, I was investigating this week too. I was half going through it, but I was kind of in the back of my head, kind of like, I can use this too. I could learn from this. I could use this for the show, and kind of just for the show for myself. And so, I was kind of like investigating that whole week. And I remember I noticed was, what did you just? Oh, how I can't focus on trying to do even tasks sometimes when I'm going through this.
Oh yeah.
The anticipation is so high. All you're thinking about is X, whatever that is.
Right. And it's funny how we as humans do that. Like, it's even in the Bible, like Paul's disciples, Timothy and Titus, struggled with it. Where, like, when things are going good, they're praying all the time, they're doing what they're supposed to, all that good stuff, lifting it up to God, reading their scriptures. But as soon as, like, stuff starts going wrong, which is really when you need God and you need to lift those problems up to him, that's when we tend to falter, and, like, we get really strong-headed. It's like, I got to figure this out myself. So all on my own, I got to figure it out myself. Got to do this, got to do that. And that's exactly the times that God's like, here, bro, help. I can help. Like,
funny you say it.
What are you doing, dude?
Trying to figure it all out on your own. And
yeah.
I think back to my past experiences, and I think it's half and half. I think you try to figure it all on your own, but I think sometimes too, like when you're a kid, I don't know about you. For me, when I was a kid, and I learned this recently, just, you learn more about yourself and your past when you go through this, and gives you more epiphanies and just more things about yourself, what really caused what your fear, your anxiety. And for me, it was, not really having a voice. Especially when I was 15 years old, going through that in high school. I'm ninth grade, I'm in a new place. I got a lot of things in my mind, and I didn't feel like I had a voice. Plus, I didn't know how to express, but I didn't feel like if I did, it was still, you got to do X, Y, and Z. What I mean? This is what you got to do. And so, and I was the first child as well. And so, it's funny though, it's taken years later, like now with my sister, my parents are the complete opposite.
Right.
They kind of let her do what she wants to do. But both of my parents realized too that a lot of what they went through was, like, my dad did not really have a voice either, growing up with his father. And he really kind of figured that out recently. And same with my mom. And so, you're kind of put in situations you really don't choose. As we got the cat invading the podcast.
Yeah, that's Marceline. She was a stray that we found about 6 or 7 months ago. Took her in.
Yeah, but we'll end this with this topic here, which is kind of what I was getting at, which is you know, what was I going to say? Oh, with anticipation anxiety, like I said, I didn't feel like I had a voice at that time, and so I didn't know how to really figure things out. So I tried to figure things out on my own, which just caused
Right.
more pressure, more stress on me, which made the situation worse. And so, a lot of it though was kind of fun. My dad said it's almost like he goes, "I did the same thing to you that my dad did to me, just kind of subconsciously."
Right.
That's all he knew. It's a lot of times people will subconsciously recreate the thing they despise. And I know that was kind of deep there, but
Right.
you know, but again, it's think of that too. That's why when I say, "Are these really your thoughts or your habits?" Is it from an authority figure? It's just something passed down to you, and that's something I think is really important when it comes to this stuff. How you respond to things is this how I saw so and so respond? You know what I mean? It's like, is this how I saw my whoever it is growing up who you looked up to? I saw them. Did I see them respond like this? Because that's what I've learned, Mike. Is a lot of the things I feared in certain situations or things I saw. As Mike's got the animal kingdom behind him. This
I
dude's got
do. My
every
dog's
animal.
invading too, and
Everybody's got to be on camera.
yeah.
But no, I mean, it's like maybe you can think of this. I know you, and I know you told me. I'm not gonna say I don't want to put your business up. I know you told me about one of the fears you had. It was kind of from I think it was from your father, if I'm not mistaken, right? Afraid of something. I'm not gonna say
Storms.
it.
Yeah.
Storms. Yeah.
I'll share it. Yeah.
Yeah,
My
probably
dad.
gonna put you on blast, but it's a good
You're
example.
fine. No, I'm horrified of storms, and even
Right.
even if I'm driving and it's just like a heavy rain, and
Mhm.
I'll freak out. Or if I see like really dark clouds and I'm driving and I'm driving home, like I want to get home quicker before the
Mhm.
storm hits. Because when I was a kid, my dad, terrified of storms too, he would freak out anytime there was a
Mhm.
thunderstorm, and he would all take us all in the basement, and I could see, as a kid, you could pick up on those things. I could see the anxiety in his face and the fear and everything like that. And his biggest thing was like storms and tornadoes. And that's to this day, whenever I have I'm really stressed out, I have
Mhm.
nightmares about bad storms and tornadoes. Even to this
Wow.
day, it's my biggest fear. Like there's a tornado warning, I'm not okay, like ever.
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Call
I'm
you and
just
check on you, Mike. It's all right. No. but
yeah, like I just like, oh God, no.
yeah.
But
But
yeah, that's
that's
my
crazy
biggest
though how
fear.
you picked that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's how I picked it up. A lot of when I have panic attacks where I start getting anxious, like one of my symptoms too with tension, like my face will get red, you feel kind of tense, and a lot of it's kind of what I saw when I was younger. I'd see certain when I hear stories about like my grandfather who was sick. He was born sick,
Right.
but and I would hear how people would respond to things. So I thought that response was normal. I would start to that's how you got to respond to this. That means that's happening to me. And after thousands and thousands, maybe millions of times, I figured out no, that's not what's happening to me. And the
Right.
way I'm actually feeling is the symptoms I'm having is all normal. Anxiety gives you all kinds of weird symptoms, tingling, and I mean I've heard people have craziest things like tingling in their toes, certain toes, like
Oh yeah. I get tingling. Whenever I had a bad panic attack, I'd get tingling in my face,
foggy
like
vision.
even in like my teeth,
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
or like my gums, like it'll feel like tingles and pins and
Mhm.
needles. But yeah, it does weird shit to you.
Oh
like,
yeah, foggy vision, all of it.
oh,
I mean,
that's the worst. That's my least
yeah,
favorite
that
one.
one
Is
used
the
to get
vision
me,
changes.
and that one used to get me with derealization, depersonalization, which is just a symptom. Some people say it's a different disorder. I think it's more just another symptom of anxiety. You
Hmm.
feel kind of like depersonalized, derealized, and
Yeah, autopilot is the easiest way
yeah,
to
you
you
just
feel
feel like
like
you're
you're
kind of yeah, you feel like you're just like an outer body experience, and you just till you snap out of it. But
yeah.
yeah, man, I mean, it's just crazy how all the reactions, but you pick up on, you carry. It's like I was saying, I was carrying other people's baggage or other
Right.
people's perceptions. They weren't even mine. And so uh, that's what Mike and I are challenging you guys today with anticipation anxiety. Is more just really dig deeper. Like Mike and I have, even the cats agree. Look at the cat. Like Mike, you need look. See, the cat even agrees.
This is the old man. This is Travis.
Travis agrees. You know what I'm
He's a
saying?
good boy. He's 18.
Dang.
And he's an old cat. He's an old
But
boy.
yeah, that's
Doesn't
a
have
Mike.
much balance.
Mike and I are challenging you guys to really think if you're anticipating something coming up in your life or when you
Mm.
struggle with that, kind of all just really dig deeper and ask yourselves these questions. That's why Mike and I come up here and gave our own personal examples, and
Right.
we want to really relate to you guys that, hey, you're not alone. We've been through it. Mike's 26, I'm 23. We're young guys just kind of going through it, figuring it out. And so we'd love to hear from you guys as well, too. But yeah, you guys know what's in this topic, Mike? Or I think we
yeah, and again, if you have any questions or anything like that, or
just need to
you
talk.
need to talk, you can always reach out to me or Joseph, and if you're
Or the anxiety
coming,
guy as well.
or the anxiety guy, yeah.
He
And
gets
if
back
you're
to you.
coming from a biblical place, I always remember, like, if you are a Christian or you're interested in becoming one, what have you, if you just give it up to God, because I mean, you'll see change, like God's going to work in your life, but even just in the moment, just giving up all your worries to God, it's so freeing in the moment. And then he'll actually work on solving the issue. Like, obviously it's going to take time, but in the moment, just like, I know if when I'm really stressed out and I pray and I just lay it all out afterwards, it feels like I've talked to a therapist or my parent or someone and just like laid it all out, and it's freeing. It's very freeing.
Yeah, it's like journaling, which I do a lot of, which just writing out what you feel. Maybe turn on some music as you're doing it.
Yeah.
Just really read it out and you feel way better after. Yeah, it's totally, you got to express, you got to let that stuff out some way.
Right.
So, but we'll talk on that more. But now we want to get to our favorite thing we talk about, which is the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
Yesterday, the Cleveland Browns introduced Jim Schwartz as a
Just
defensive
for that,
coordinator.
Jim Schwartz gets a swig of Gentleman Jack.
He gets a swig of essential water from me.
Yeah, swig of Gentleman Jack. Hold on.
But you do that, I'll warm it up. But so the Browns hired Jim Schwartz as their defensive coordinator. They introduced him yesterday. Hell of a press conference by Jim Schwartz. I thought it was one of the best ones I've seen. I thought it was really cool the way he told the stories from when he was back in the 90s with Belichick, and just you could tell the guy really just admires Cleveland, understands the franchise, the fan base. I think it's a fantastic hire. I think I said on our lives, and I told you probably, I thought he was the best choice, mainly because I know a lot of people are fascinated with Brian Flores, and I think Brian Flores is a good coach, although I had some wavering things on it. I didn't think Brian Flores would be a good hire here, especially if you're only going to have him for a year, possibly. I think when you're in a position like the Browns, especially you got a young head coach, but also he's your play caller as well. And I think you look at the Chiefs. While the Chiefs, I think, have been so successful, one of the reasons is because Steve Spagnuolo, he's an older veteran defensive coordinator, been there for a long time, has a lot of experience. He's not going anywhere. He's a career. He's been in Kansas City. There's consistency. I think the most well-ran organizations have consistency, and I think that's what Jim Schwartz provides now to the Browns. He provides someone for Kevin to lean on. He has a Super Bowl under his belt. All of his defenses have always been statistically really good.
Yeah, more often than not, he's had a top 10 defense. It was like 60% of the time of he's been a defensive coordinator, and
brings an edge, brings a lot to it. And so my initial reaction was I loved it. I was actually kind of shocked. I think I told you I thought they were going to hire Desai. I thought they were going to pull the trigger on Desai.
That was a straight up smoke screen.
Yeah, that was straight smoke. They knew who they had the whole time, which I kind of had a feeling, because usually the first guy you want to interview is the guy you want the most.
Right.
It's like a chick, usually a guy likes to go after the girl he likes the most. I was using that example, but you know how it is. That's what the Browns did. They saw the one they liked, and they said, "We're going after him full hold."
Yeah, taking him to prom. But yeah, no, I think it's a great hire. I've told you from the get, like, I don't think they were interviewing one person that I disliked. I liked all of them, and so I would have been happy with any of them. I think my biggest thing with this and why I'm so excited about the Jim Schwartz hire is, yes, he is extremely experienced. He, like Joseph said, Super Bowl under his belt. I'm excited that he really values the defensive tackle position, which Joe Woods did not whatsoever. So we are going to see money spent in free agency on the position. I think we're probably going to pick up two at the very least.
Sounds like Deron Payne's number one target too.
Yeah, and that's
And
all.
he should be. But go ahead.
Yeah, and if he doesn't, like it's at defensive tackle free agent market's insane. So if like that doesn't work out, like Deron Payne, like obviously my first choice. He's younger. He's you could sign him long term. You know what you're getting. He's disruptive. He's good in the run, good in the pass. He's just a Pro Bowl, like on the cusp of an All Pro. Like that's where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
I would love him, but like, even if you can't get him, you could probably trade for DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner, just as good. A little bit older, 29, but like he had like 72 tackles this year, 18 tackles for loss, and 8.5 sacks. That's still great for an interior lineman.
Yeah, I think he had 9.5, 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5, I think, is what he finished with. And then another name to watch because, Eagle, Javon Hargrave.
8 sacks. 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 44 solos.
44 solos.
Really good, though.
Yeah, and Javon Hargrave is another name that we could watch. Same age as DeForest Buckner. He's ranked the 12th best defensive tackle in all of football this year. It's kind of a career year for him, so maybe like he would be third on the list because you're not really sure. He's just having that career year. But I could see us going after one of those premier interior pass rushers, and then the biggest veteran name that I would like to see on the Browns. He's coming up in free agency after this year, and he had 2 All-Pro seasons when Jim Schwartz was defensive coordinator in Philly. Is Fletcher Cox. I think Fletcher Cox would be a great veteran presence. I think he has like 4 or 5 sacks this year, so he's still disruptive. He's obviously not in his prime really anymore. He's in his early 30s. You could probably get him for a 2-year deal, but a great veteran presence to have, can still get pressure and is still very effective in the run game. I think Fletcher Cox would be great.
Javon Hargrave, pulled that up. 37 solo, 11 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. 29 years old. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like Javon Hargrave. The only issue, like I said, is this is his best year ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Granted, Deron Payne, same thing. This is the first year he's had double-digit sacks. Every other year, I think he's had about like 4.5 to 5.5. But I don't know if they were.
He's in that prime age too. Like you get that guy, you're doing it,
right?
And Fletcher Cox 7 sacks this year, 1 forced fumble, 23 solos.
How many sacks?
7. 1 forced fumble.
Oh, he had 7. Wow.
23 solos. So pretty good.
I didn't think he had that many. So yeah, Fletcher Cox I think would be a great interior veteran, and you could probably get him cheaper. Calais Campbell. I want to see that. I want to see one veteran, a Calais Campbell, a Fletcher Cox. Draymond Jones.
Well, yeah, him, but there's an older one. His name starts with a J. He's a more older defensive. I think he plays for the Ravens.
Are you talking about Justin Houston?
Justin Houston. I think his stats this year too. I pulled his up.
He's got like 10 sacks, I think.
Yeah, about 10 sacks. So there's some good, productive names because you have Myles Garrett. That's going to make up for a lot.
Yeah,
I think Myles Garrett with Jim Schwartz should get a lot. He should be about 16, 20 sacks now. Justin Houston, 9.5 sacks, 14 solos, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble. So he's 33 years old.
Yeah,
maybe another veteran. They need veterans in there. For sure.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a veteran D end opposite of Myles. I'd like to see one young free agent interior pass rusher. Younger, when I say young, like still in their 20s. Like for me, it would go Deron Payne, number 1. Number 2, DeForest Buckner for me. And number 3 would be Javon Hargrave, and then go get a Calais Campbell. Then go get a Fletcher Cox. Or even like if you want to stay younger, another name to watch because he's going to be a free agent. Really productive in the run game. He's not really like an interior pass rush kind of guy, but he's doing enough on pressures. T.R. Tart from the Titans. He's going to be a free agent. They're not going to be able to pay him because they already paid Jeffrey Simmons all that money.
Which is kind of like, who's the defensive tackle for the Bengals? It's really good. He's not a great, but he's really good against the
DJ
run.
Reader.
DJ Reader. Really good against the run. You need guys like that.
Yeah.
We
and I think T.R. Tart would be
right.
If they want to stay younger.
And you still got, I think the 2 young guys you keep is, well, it sounds they're going to keep 3. They're going to keep Winfrey. They're going to keep Alex Wright, which I like.
Keep your
edge
rushers and Isaiah Thomas.
I think Winfrey just needs a little more maturing. I think maybe a good vet, he'd be all right. I think Alex Wright, his upside's his raw talent, raw abilities
Mhm.
there.
He's been really good
Just
in the run game.
Yeah, it's
Against
about
run game.
development. I heard they're probably going to keep Jordan Elliott, which I don't know. I mean, he had some nice plays this year. I think you see Jordan Elliott shows flashes, but I just wonder, I don't think he's going to be a starter. But if they do keep him for depth, which I heard,
I mean,
said they probably will.
if you got to keep one, yeah, cut. Like,
I'm just kind of want to know
it's a
how good are these guys with a better coach? That's kind of what I want to know. It's just
I mean, at some point, it's just athletic ability, right? Like maybe Jordan Elliott's just too small because, like, I mean, yeah, he flashed, but like you're getting blown 5 yards up every play. At some point, it's not just technique. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't want to. If I don't see Jordan Elliott play another snap or Tommy Togiai play another snap in orange and brown, I won't be mad.
I don't expect Togiai.
Yeah,
I like Togiai in college. I mean, he was a
Yeah.
Buckeye. It was really good against the run in college. Nice play against Clemson.
Right. He is not a NFL caliber defensive tackle.
He's a second. They put way too much into young players. You just saw the lack of veteran experience this year. It just
right.
Veteranship and experience this year, and just I think the biggest thing I was excited though, after listening to him yesterday, was when he talked about linebackers and how he said, he's like,
they don't need to be big. Yeah,
but I like what he said. Though. He's like, everybody says fast, and everybody says you want to be fast and smart and have quick instincts. But he says, if you really look at my defenses and you really look at if I'm doing a good job, my linebackers are going to be flying to that ball. They're going to be physical. They're going to have great instincts. And the guy that I think is going to benefit the most, I think more than Myles Garrett, from Jim Schwartz, is Jeremiah Lucid-Cormo.
Yeah. And JOK still needs to gain some weight, though, just because of injuries. Like, he's got to gain a little bit of weight. But
yeah, I think he will, just out of just natural maturing. He's still young player. His body's growing. I think he'll put on more. But I think if there's anybody that's going to really benefit from Jim Schwartz, I think it's JOK, because JOK has the instincts, he has the speed. He actually showed a little bit of pop too in his hits too. You look in his career, this year I kind of count as a wash. I'll be honest. I think his first year, what we saw the first year, I think that's more who he is. I think
how many games was he hurt this year? 6, 7?
A lot, yeah, almost half the season. And I think too, just the morale. You can see the morale of the team. They were all out. Especially some of the comments guys are making about the defense after the season. They were out, and so I think JOK is the guy I think we saw the first year, which is a future star in my opinion. And so he has the ability. I think him in this scheme is going to be really good. I think another guy who played well and just kind of that physicality, just kind of that tack the ball. He's got to get healthy. I don't know if they bring him back as Taki. I
hope they bring Taki
back.
I hope they leave him at Mike.
I think Taki in this scheme would do really well. I'm not sure who else. I mean, the linebacker room,
they're bringing back AWOC. They love AWOC. He's coming back.
Unless there's a veteran out there to play with Schwartz.
Only guy I would bring, there's the linebacker free agent class isn't very good. I definitely bring back AWOC just for the leadership, but another linebacker, since Jacob Phillips we're not bringing back, and he'll probably be cut, is Levante David. He's available in the free agent market.
That's what we need, somebody like that here.
And I would like him, a strong veteran presence, Super Bowl winner.
If they brought in Fletcher Cox, one of those older guys, and Levante David, totally agree with it.
And bring back AWOC, because AWOC, they love him in that locker room. He is a solid leader. You ask anybody, any team he's ever been on.
You ever follow his Instagram? Great person too. You follow his Instagram?
Oh yeah.
Very devout Christian. I always like watch. I like reading his stuff he posts. It's really devout Christian, great guy. But
I love AWOC. I hope they bring back AWOC, and he was playing really well until he got hurt. Like, I think he was our leading tackler. He was getting involved in like pass rush, and he had the first game he had a sack, like the first play out of the gate. Just really smart, knows how to read the run, like just an intelligent player. And you saw that. Yeah, just great. Just a great NFL player all around. So
very good professional athlete.
And AWOC already said he wants to come back. Like he's like, I don't like moving, And I think they'll come into an agreement on another 1-year deal, probably like $4 million or something like that. He'll come back. But
And I think guys like that are going to do really well. I think they'll be able to sign a couple of those kind of guys because I think, like you listened to Jim Schwartz yesterday about Malcolm Jenkins, how it was one of his favorite players he ever coached. Now Malcolm Jenkins at that time was older veteran, very high IQ, loved the game, but he liked to be coached. He respected Jim Schwartz. Those are the kind of guys you want. Those are the kind of guys, if you want to win and win consistently, you got to have those kind of guys,
Right.
just professional, very mature. They respect their coach. Coach respects them, but they also like to be coached. If you got
Right.
a bunch of guys on your team that don't like to be coached, I think that's kind of what we saw. Just if you got a really young team like we had this year, or you got guys that are really mature that don't want to be coached because they
Right.
just run all over their coach, you're not going to win. But I think with Jim Schwartz, I don't see that happening.
And also, like, he comes in with, like, I think it's also you're bringing in an established guy who, like, hey, these players will respect that resume.
Mhm.
Like, he's been in the
Exactly.
league forever. He has a Super Bowl. Like, he's made so many. I mean, you name it. Like, so many guys, all pros. I mean, Fletcher Cox is one, and Ndamukong Suh. Like, he's coached all these guys to like all pro level talent, and he's had all these top 5 defenses. So I think it's not just like his personality or his intelligence, but they respect that resume. They're like,
Right.
okay, well, let's listen to this guy because we know what he knows what he's talking about.
And he's taken this job the best thing he said, which the fans are going to love, is what he said at the end.
Oh, I love that.
I was part of a Super Bowl. And Philadelphia's a phenomenal fan base. It's Philly. Great fans. And great city, too. But, he talked about how all he remembers is that parade when he won in Philly in 2017. But he's like, there's only one other city that could top that. And we're in it right now.
Yeah.
And you could just tell, like, he started off his press conference too. He looked up and he saw a picture of somebody that he knew from
Dino
from back when he was in the 90s, when he was in the Belichick era. And I'm gonna be honest, that made me go back last night. I went and rewatched the 95 Browns documentary on NFL Network did. What's it, The Football Life?
Mm-hmm.
And I love that documentary. I went back and rewatched it yesterday just because Jim Schwartz made me go back and rewatch it. But
yeah. And I think this is like his last stop too.
Yeah, this is it. Like, and I think this is where he would want to
retire
because it's where he started. That's where he's going to end.
That's kind of what it feels like. He's like, I want to try and help win this city a Super Bowl. Then I think he'll retire.
Yeah, and I think I just think the respect will be there, but also I think the players pick up on a coach that really has the passion that just wants to win as bad as them.
Oh yeah, I think
and that's kind of cliche, but there's certain at any level. Like I was part of. When I was playing growing up, you could tell certain guys that had different motives, coaches that didn't want to win. You didn't really respect those guys.
Right.
I mean, you kind of just, the players like the guys that show as much will to win or want, what I mean? It's just like he said, he's like, when he had problems last year with his health, he said. And so I love his answer. He's like, I wouldn't cheat the game because I couldn't watch film as much because I was going through, you know what I mean? He's like, I'm not going to cheat the game.
Oh yeah. He was having thyroid issues, which messes with your eyes.
Yeah, he said he couldn't watch as much film. And then he's like, I wouldn't cheat the game like that. That's the guy loves football. He is a football junkie. And that's exactly what we needed up in here.
I agree. Oh, well.
We lost Mike. I'll be back in a second. I think somebody might have been calling him. Sometimes that happens. But yeah, love the Jim Schwartz hire. I think Jim Schwartz is going to bring a lot to this. I think Jim Schwartz is going to give a whole different element.
What happened?
Oh, you're good. Somebody call you. Sometimes people call you. It cuts out. I noticed that.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened. I ignored them. But yeah, Jim Schwartz, super hype. Wouldn't be surprised if we took safety in the draft first now. Mm-hmm. I keep seeing that kid out of Florida State drop, Jamie Robinson.
I'm kind of I mean, they got to figure out a receiver, but I think with your first pick, I was kind of leaning if Hyatt's there, maybe take Hyatt because of his speed and his ability. But I'm kind of like, you know what? Just take the best player available, and that's all.
I think that's what they're going to do. I think they might trade Greg Newsome this offseason.
Really?
I think so, because here, you don't need a nickel corner that is Like, I mean, maybe they change it, but I don't know. The way it's playing out, I think one of the outside corners is gone. I think we're going to keep Denzel just because of he's just, the best corner on the team, one of the best corners in the NFL. Martin Emerson, if we keep him, he gives us an
Rising star,
another year of control in a rookie contract, cheaper because he's a third-round pick.
And you got to keep him. He's unique with his size and speed combination. I think you got to keep him. That's rare.
So,
that's hard to find.
I think Greg Newsome might be on the trade block. Like if we, because if player for player doesn't happen often, but if franchise tagged, Washington needs corners, and Greg Newsome's a good one. So,
well, especially if you think you can get a corner in the first pick in the second round.
Well, we wouldn't even need that because we would be drafting a slot corner. You can find a nickel corner,
That's what I'm saying.
Fourth round.
You
That's
can use your first pick. I mean, the one thing Andrew Berry could find, he can find a corner really well. He's proven that. So, I wouldn't be opposed to. I mean, the other thing I like Greg Newsome. I think he played.
I like him a lot. I wouldn't, but like now we have.
He hasn't had an interception yet in his career, which I'm kind of, for first round, I didn't see an interception, especially your first 2 years. But I don't know. It depends on the deal. I mean,
if we can get
I'll
it
say
first,
this:
late first round pick, and what if because they're saying Jackson Smith and Jigba will probably drop to the late 20s?
I would do it
there.
I'll be a straight homer. I'll be a homer if you can get Jackson Smith and Jigba for Greg Newsome. Sign me up. I'm in. And I'm gonna get my jersey. I'm gonna get my Smith and Jigba jersey. Sign me up. I'm in.
Because I could see it happening, man. Because here's the thing: like, no team, name a team in the NFL that uses 3 great outside corners. Can you think of one? Like, you could think of teams that have 2 great outside corners.
I think he's the least out of the 3.
Yeah, but I mean, when he was playing in the slot, he wasn't very good this year. But as an outside corner, last year he was locking up Jamar Chase. But so is Martin Emerson. So like
Denzel had the famous pick 6 against Jamar.
So like, we don't need 3 great outside corners. You can find it cheap.
Pass rush, because when you go against Jamar Chase is a great player. He's going to get his numbers. He's going to get sub numbers when you go against him. It's a solid, great player. It's a great offense always outmeets great defense, no matter what. And so, but again, you can limit those guys. I think I like what Schwartz said yesterday, though, about the blitz. I think everybody gets so happy with this, like, you need the blitz. I think you can do that nowadays against especially the quarterbacks we got to go against in the playoffs.
It's so important to rush with Allen. Be able to get pressure with 4.
You have to get pressure with 4. It's always been that way in football. It starts up front. You can't blitz everybody. Like, a lot of people want to floor us because they're like, oh, he's going to blitz everybody. I'm like, we're going to get killed. Those plays, you always lose in the big games on those plays. Mahomes is going to get you. Josh Allen will get you. All these guys. Lamar Jackson can use his feet. He'd skate because the pocket collapses. He's going to step up. He's going to take off running. Look, who did that to us? Chad Penny. Was it Chad Penny? Chad Penny. I'm thinking of someone else. Chad Henne did it to us. We sent the whole house, and he burned us. Lost the playoff game on it. And we should have won.
Yeah.
But
we should have.
I think, too, the last thing I'll hit on, and before you want to cover anything else, is I really like what he said about Andrew Berry, about the ownership, about Kevin Stefanski. Because I think that's most important is what he said yesterday about those guys. Because I think there was a lot of caution about those people this offseason. Mm-hmm. And here I was cautious. I mean, I was kind of weary about it a little bit, questioning some things. But I think Jim Schwartz, what he said about him, his experience, what he's been a part of, I think, and just the fact that Andrew Berry and Stefanski actually hired this guy really makes me more confident in them.
Yeah. I mean, and I've said this from the beginning, like, I think the hot seat stuff or I think a lot of that is smoke and mirrors for the media. I think league wise within the NFL, Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry are well respected, especially Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry more than anything, because
very professional.
Last year, Kwesi, our vice president or vice GM, whatever you want to call him, was hired for the Vikings job. This year, Glenn Cook was interviewed, our current vice GM, and he's being interviewed by another team now for a GM opening. So if that's got to show you, like, it's very rare to have two guys back-to-back years out of your front office getting general manager interviews, unless like people believe in your system and how you draft and how you trade and how you manipulate the salary cap and all that good stuff. And I think Andrew Berry's probably one of the better GMs in the NFL, if not like the best. But
I think he's one of the more polished for sure. I think he has all the tools. I mean, he's
smart.
I like too what he said. He's very even killed. That's what you want in your front office. You don't want a guy that's high or low. You want somebody that's neutral.
Oh, especially as a GM, you just
I mean, like I that's kind of why I like Stefanski. Like, I know some people like to overly criticize him, which I think some of the criticism's a little too far. But I think I like Kevin Stefanski because he's who he is. He's very professional. He's very just very professional. Always cordial with the media. You know, there's some coaches you see that you don't like. Like, you just like, I can't wait for them. Like, I don't want this guy. Like, there's a lot of coaches people have had in the Browns have hired in the past. People just did not like because they were just kind of like, But I think everybody likes Kevin. I think everybody wants Kevin to work, and I think same thing with Andrew. And so I think it's tough too because I think the last 2 years, Mike, if I had to really sum it up, it's just I'd put it transition.
Yeah,
I'd just call it a transition. And Kevin's never had a full, real offseason. Like
with one quarterback, yeah.
First year, COVID year. Second year, what was it? Still COVID restrictions in 21. And then you don't have your quarterback you want. Then Baker gets hurt. You got all the Odell stuff. I mean, just a lot going on. Last year, you trade for Deshaun Watson. Great move. We agree. Do the move. But you got all the hoopla with that, and then he's got to sit out. Then he's suspended. Then it's just
and then you got to splitting reps, first team reps.
You're splitting reps, and it's just like.
And then Deshaun comes in, and then you start to institute almost a whole new offense in week 11.
It's been like a slow transition.
I feel bad for the guy, if anything. Shit.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's been a slow transition. You know, they inherited something in 20, made the best out of it, made the playoffs. But I think they realized, okay, we got to do better. Because that team in 20, that was their max. That group they had at that time, the pieces they had, that group maxed out. You weren't going to go further than that, especially with the quarterback you had. And it is what it is. That's why they made the moves they made. But again, I think you've just been in the slow transition. I think now you're at the end of the hill. You're at the bottom of the other side now, where now you can go a lot smoother, more normal. I think Jim Schwartz was the cap of that.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, it should be a hell of an off season for sure. Can't wait. It's a lot of fun.
I want it to be March. It should be March tomorrow.
I love draft. I love the NFL draft. Anybody knows me. My dad and I, we love to watch and draft together.
I can't wait for the draft.
We're doing it this year. We'll do it at our house again this year too, like we did. So that'll be fun. We might have to live stream the draft, our reaction. Maybe we'll do that. I'll set it up.
We should do the first round too, just in case we trade into it.
Oh, if we get in play for Jackson Smith and Jigba, I'll be running.
Or Brian Greasy.
Yeah, either one. I'll be leading that parade. I'll be leading the march, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but before we get out of here, I want to ask you though a couple things. I know you're going to plug your spot, but who do you got this weekend? So we got the Jags and Chiefs. Who do you like?
You're going to call me a madman.
I'm not actually. I like it.
Jags. Jags. Jags upset the Chiefs in Arrowhead.
Mike goes with the Jags.
Jags.
Dang. I'm going to go. I really like Trevor Lawrence, what he's doing right now. He's got the hot hand. He went to Waffle House.
And they're playing. They don't need to go to Waffle House. I love that. Just won my first playoff game. Time to go to the house. Get myself an All-American Grand Slam. Let's go.
Walked the bed there like he was the man. He is the man now.
Yeah. He ate free, apparently, and tipped them like $1,000. So good to know Trevor Lawrence is a dope person.
Yeah, he's a nice kid. But
the medieval horse.
Good luck stopping that QB sneak on the goal line. All you do is go like this. Mike said Trevor Lawrence looks like a
medieval painting of a horse.
Yeah, Mike's on the phone with me the other night. We're watching the Bucks game, and Mike was driving up to the airport, picks me up. And Mike tells me, Trevor Lawrence looks like a medieval horse. And I was like, okay, it just caught me up, a medieval horse. I never heard of that one.
Medieval painting of a horse.
Yeah, and I sent you a photo, and I said, you're kind of right. And so
It's pretty close.
Pretty close, not that, but no, I think, man, that's tough. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs only because I actually like what I've seen from the Chiefs this year. I think they're still the Chiefs. I'm gonna go with Mahomes. I think they want that game versus, especially if I think they want the Bengals. Yeah, I mean, they want to get the Super Bowl, obviously. I think they would love to have that match with the Bengals at home. But I'm gonna go with the Chiefs, and the next game will be the Giants and Eagles. Now I think that game's gonna be closer than you think. I'm telling you, man. East Coast games, rivalry games. It's gonna get gritty in that. It's gonna get fiery in that stadium. I think it's gonna be a gritty game. I'm gonna go with the Eagles just because I think they've just been the better team all year. But I think it's gonna be really close. I think it's gonna be like a 30-27 game.
I'm going to go with the Eagles as well. I just think their defense is too good, and the Giants, even though Daniel Jones played amazingly well, I don't think the Giants' weapons are nearly
I
good.
can see Jalen Hurts making a play with his feet at the end of the game to win it. Something like that. So
yeah, the Giants just need more weapons. They, who's their best receivers? Hodges or whoever the fuck, like some Hodgins, some guy, number 18. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Darius Slayton, who's very okay.
Yeah. Well, Saquon Barkley had a great game. But,
wow, it's Saquon Barkley. Yeah.
I'm glad that he's back healthy. I like watching him. He's fun to watch. But
he is fun to watch.
Now, the two teams I wasn't really impressed with last weekend, they play each other. Maybe they were just trying to get through the week. Maybe, I don't know. The Bills and Bengals. Who do you got? Because I'm actually, this
Buffalo.
is a hard one.
Buffalo. All the way, Buffalo. I don't know what was more concerning.
You know what?
Both defenses looked awful, but
who do you trust more?
I trust Josh Allen more.
See, I don't look at it like that. I think Joe Burrow could be better. You can make an argument Joe Burrow's better than Josh Allen.
You totally can.
Well, yeah, it's tough. It's close.
Yeah, it's very close. I trust Josh Allen.
I didn't like what I saw from I thought the Bengals should have lost.
I really do. I mean, or at least
if dude doesn't fumble the ball and
it goes to overtime, and then it might be up to Justin Tucker.
And the shitty play calling too. I think the Ravens probably should have won that game. To be honest with you, I think the Ravens should have won the game. Now the Bills didn't play well. I think who did they play against? I can't remember.
The Dolphins.
The Dolphins, yeah. The Dolphins had their chances, but I feel like the Bills. I trust the Bills defense more, especially at home. It's going to come down to. I think it's a kind of defensive play.
Well, it's not at home; it's in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, that's right. Neutral site. Forgot about that. Oh well, I don't know. That's in a dome too. Ooh,
so I'm still going to go Bills just because I think. I think that was more fluky the way they played. Like Josh Allen threw 2 bad picks. And Xavier, like the Dolphins secondary is much better than the Bengals secondary.
I'm gonna take the Bills on one thing. They just want the rematch with the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna take the Bills based on that. But
they want that rematch, but they're not going to get it because whoever wins is going to be playing Trevor Lawrence and the Jags.
Well, I'm telling you though, I think it's a 51% to 49%. I think it is so close, that game. I think that game is close because it's gonna be hard to knock Joe Burrow the way he's playing right now. It's gonna be hard to knock him out or to eliminate him.
No, they might just knock him out for real since he keeps getting sacked like 5 times a game.
And that's what I don't like about the Bengals is Joe Burrow gets hit. He's always gotten hit too much in his career. Now they improved the line this year, but in recent years he's
still the most sacked quarterback in the league.
It's my whole point, and I don't like that.
Like,
and in the long run,
improved, and isn't La'el Collins hurt?
Improved, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
La'el Collins is hurt, and Jonah Williams just got hurt.
Oh yeah. I'll go with the Bills. I'm gonna take the Bills. So then you got what's the other game? Okay, 49ers and Cowboys. I think I know who you're gonna take.
You're gonna call me a madman again. We did a prediction before, but I disagree with myself now. I'm going to take the boys. Taking the boys. I am.
I agree with you. And
Just
I
if they
would have took the
play, if I
49ers.
think they got hot at the right time, Dak actually played like
Dak Prescott played the best game I ever saw him play the other night.
ever. And he's a B+ quarterback, I think, but he had an A++ game.
Good enough though.
He was
When he plays
perfect.
like that.
He
When
played
plays
perfect.
when he plays like that, good enough.
Yeah.
Because that defense is nasty. Dan Quinn, when he's dialing up over there with Micah Parsons, and they don't really have to blitz a whole lot either. That's what the Browns do.
Micah Parsons, D-Law, they got some
Ron
good.
Diggs, they got some dudes over there.
I like Curse, their safety, a lot. Van Der Esch has a play every now and then, but
the way they're able to split the carry with Pollard and Zeke, the run game, I think, is working really well.
And they finally did it smart. Pollard is getting the ball more than Zeke, which they should have.
I like how they're using Zeke though in certain situations. Zeke's still effective in certain spots, especially in the
short yardage situations. Makes sense. He's bigger. He's bigger.
Great at that. And he's always had one of the best cutbacks you've seen. Shit in the gap, finding the space. But yeah, you know what? I mean, I like the only thing that concerns me is they had to go from Tampa back to Dallas, now they go across country again. It's the only thing that concerns me. But I think they're riding on so much momentum. And I think just the fan base is going to be there. Obviously, it's one of the biggest fan bases in all sports. They're going to travel. I think I like the Cowboys too, man. Listen, Brock Purdy's played great. No disrespect. Great story. And they got a great defense, and they got some nice
best defense in the league, if you ask me. But
yeah, CMC. I mean, they got some nice Greg Kittle. But I gotta go with. I'm going with the Cowboys. I'm going with the momentum. I do. I think Micah Parsons. Has Brock Purdy played against somebody like Micah Parsons yet?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably not, because Parsons.
If he's the best, then he hasn't played.
Yeah, no. I'd say there are only three guys. There are three guys in that echelon of where Micah Parsons is at. Obviously, you got Micah. I think Nick Bosa, and then who's on the Niners, and then Myles Garrett.
TJ Watt.
There's an argument to be made for TJ Watt in there, but TJ Watt, I don't know.
He's a bad dude. And I don't.
TJ Watt has so much more help, though, kind of thing.
Yeah, but that guy he deserves to be in that conversation. He shows up. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and Micah Parsons gave Brady fits. And if you could shut down Tom Brady like they did,
you could shut down Brock Purdy.
Shut down anybody. Brady couldn't complete a pass at one point. I'd never seen it that bad.
I think it's going to be a Bills-Cowboys Super Bowl, and I think everything's going to implode.
What do you mean?
I think since the AFC Championship is going to be, or the Super Bowl is going to be Bills-Cowboys at this rate.
Mm-hmm.
If things keep chugling the way I think, and the Bills are going to win, and the Cowboys are going to cry. Bills are still winning it all. They're still winning it all.
The Bills win it all. Yeah,
they're still going to win it all.
Because I think if the Cowboys play the Eagles, I would take the Cowboys. I would. Although they got to travel again, so I don't know.
That's not that far. You know that stadium, you know.
Yeah. Well, plus
their division rival.
Yeah, I think when I watched Micah Parsons the other night, and when you have that, and then with Dak Prescott, if he can keep that up, that's a tough ass team to beat.
Yeah. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb.
Micah Parsons is a wrecking ball. I mean, that guy. Yeah. I love watching that guy play. I don't get to watch him all the times because I don't live in Dallas. But when I watched him the other night, really like the full game, I was like, damn, this dude is the real deal. Like,
yeah,
no joke. But all right, so you got Bills and Cowboys.
Bills and the boys. Changing my tune. I thought it was going to be the Niners, but I don't know.
I don't know if I guess I'll say the Bills. I guess I'd say the Cowboys. So
what if we get a
I can see the Chiefs. I could see a Chiefs Cowboys.
What if we get a Jags Giants Super Bowl, Joseph? What if we get a Jags Giants Super Bowl?
I don't even know what to say about that. Who the hell saw that coming? If that go Trevor Lawrence if it does. I mean, hey, I'll be for Trevor Lawrence, but if that happened, that would be insane. That would just, I don't know what to say. But all right, well, appreciate your playoff picks. I just want to throw that in there because I know we like doing that. But you will be Mike and I will be doing lives this weekend for sure. I know Mike might be on. He couldn't come on last Sunday, but I'm sure he'll be on.
Yep.
We have all Corey, there were the whole crew on. We have a good time on those lives. I know you guys are enjoying it, so we'll keep them coming on the weekends. Those are a lot more looser too, and so we just have to have a good time. Last Sunday was great with the story time, especially from Jeremy, his crazy stories. But but before we get out of here, my man Mike has a big deal coming up next week. It's been a long time in the making.
Long time.
Finally here.
It's finally
Mike, take
here.
it away.
We're bar's opening. Our bar in downtown Akron, 323 South Main Street, right across the street from Canal Park, the Daily Pressed. We are going to be having fresh made espressos. It's a high-end cocktail lounge, great cocktails. Just did the training yesterday, tried 22 cocktails. I'm still in pain. They're all delicious, and I guarantee great service, great drinks, and great espresso, all that good stuff. We are doing, it's a soft opening, so just bar is open for probably the first 2 weeks. So cocktails, espresso, come in, get your coffee, get your drinks, whatever you.
What the
whatever you
Daily
want.
Press?
The Daily Press, and we'll be opening 8 to 1.
Pressed.
Pressed. Pressed.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, we're going to be having food within the next 2 weeks. But yeah, so soft opening, Daily Pressed this Tuesday, 323 South Main Street.
There you go, right there. It's on the screen, folks. Go check them out. Soft opening this Tuesday. So, what time Tuesday?
8.
8:00. All right.
That's when we start, 8 in the morning, and then close at 1.
Go see my man Mike. I know he said he whipped out like 22 drinks last night. Was it like
22?
Like an
Yep.
hour or less than an hour? Well, how long did you do that? It was real fast.
It only took me, because I was explaining everything, only took me about an hour and 20. So we were feeling fighting.
My bad. I put presses. It's pressed.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Not bad. There we go. The Daily Press. 323 South Main Street, downtown Akron. Right, it's across from right by the Barley House, right by
right across the street from Canal Park. Like if you know where the Diamond Alley is.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Well, go check out my man this Tuesday. I know it's a long time coming. You're finally there. So congratulations to you and everybody.
Yeah, we're excited. We are excited.
I want to come down there and check it out.
Yeah.
Even though I don't drink, I'll have Mike make me something. I
don't mocktail. That's what they're called. Non-alcoholic cocktail.
Just have me a Perrier. You know I am a Perrier. Give me a Perrier.
We have even better than Perrier.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, I can make you an espresso.
So I don't really drink coffee either. I don't really drink caffeine. I'll get too jittery.
But it's mostly steamed milk.
I'll try it. We'll figure it out. We'll make. At the Daily Press, they'll make. Well, at least for me, I don't know about other people. They'll make me my own drink because I don't.
Yeah.
So I get a special drink.
Special little drink.
That's what you get for plugging it on the show. But
absolutely.
No, yeah, go check them out. But all right, man, cool. Can't wait for that. See you this weekend on the show on the live. Looking forward to that. Anything else on the way out of here?
No, go Jags.
Go Jags. All right, go Jags and go
Kitty
Browns.
Go Browns. Go Browns. Can't wait for March 1st. I need that great hire. Need that free agency crack. Need it. I need it in my body.
Yeah.
I want to check Twitter every fucking 10 minutes. Just who did we pick up? We trade someone yet?
Yeah.
Where's Deron Payne going?
Right, at the Deron Payne watch. Last year was Deshaun Watson. This year it's Deron Payne. But all right, man. Well, I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you this weekend on the live.
See you next weekend or this weekend. You know what I meant. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Oh, always. Thanks for coming on. Later. All right, I want to thank Mike for coming on. Great job, like always, from Mike. Great insight. Hope you guys enjoyed this show today. We talked about the Browns at the end there. We had a lot of fun, but most importantly was my opening topic today with anticipation, anxiety, and just kind of we really dove deep into that, threw a spiritual element into it, the layer there, spiritual layer into it. So yeah, give me your feedback on that. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, anything Mike and I said, feel free to hit us up. I'll put both of our contacts below. You can hit Mike up on Facebook. I'll put the anxiety guy clips below as well. You can hit him up. Dennis, great guy. He'll get back to you. Number one support there is for anxiety is his page. And so, yeah, hope you guys took something away from today. Leave a comment below. Like, subscribe, share. Please do that. I'd really appreciate if you guys do that. Let's get this get this channel growing. I'm going to start doing these more and more this year. Kind of feeling it out. But I do want to ramp it up here soon, get this growing more. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know some topics you guys want me to hit on. You guys want me to talk about either anxiety related, or maybe if you want to come up here with me, and I'll let you lead a show on something you're very passionate about. I love to do that. Have at it. And we'll give you guys a voice as well. And so, yeah, hit the like button, like, subscribe, and share, all that good stuff. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out of here. Gone.